Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm 𝗖𝗣𝗜 Biniaz. I'm joined by 𝗖𝗣𝗜 Benesocky. Welcome, Ava.
Thank you, August. And hello, everybody. We are joined today by my good friend, Melissa Houston. She is a business financial coach, a CPA, contributor at Forbes Women and Entrepreneur, and she happens to have her own podcast, Think Like a CFO. So
Amazing.
Welcome, Melissa.
Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
Wonderful.
We appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, and Melissa has a very distinguished background. So why don't you go ahead and start off by telling our guests a bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I am a CPA and I have been a CPA for over 20 years. I've been helping entrepreneurs understand their business finances, and I have worked in a variety of industries. I've done public accounting, I've done corporate tax, I've done corporate accounting, SR&ED, tax credits, like you name it, I've pretty much done it. And what I love to do is spread my knowledge, help people understand their businesses, and help entrepreneurs make more money in their business.
Amazing.
Incredible. Now, yeah, Melissa, I would like to transition into you being a financial coach. Maybe you can tell us about how you started being a coach. When did you kind of when did that urge spawn for you to give back and help others in their journeys?
Well, you know, it's funny because when I was working in public accounting, I had this first of all, I noticed this huge information gap. So when we were doing the corporate tax returns and giving feedback to our clients on, what's going on in their business and stuff, I could tell that clients were sitting there looking at us, thanking us, but they had no idea what we were talking about. So I noticed there was a really big information gap because entrepreneurs, and it's not their fault, entrepreneurs, they become entrepreneurs, they go into business to do what they do well at. And oftentimes the finance and accounting part of it is not something that they're really educated in. So I noticed that gap, that information gap, and it frustrated me in the sense that we're giving really great advice to entrepreneurs, but they don't know what to do with it. So I knew back then that I needed to help entrepreneurs understand what's going on in their business so that they could take that information, not just at a year end, but on a daily basis, and help them, understand what's going on in their business. So I had this inkling probably about 10 years ago that I really wanted to do this, but I kind of, I was like, okay, you've got a really good job. You're making really good money. Why are you thinking this? Don't be so ungrateful, stuff like that, right? These kind of excuses were going on in my head, and, got myself into a little bit of trouble, just trying to find ways to make myself feel better about myself, because I knew something wasn't off, but I was like, okay, I'm an accountant, I'm happily married, I've got 2 great kids, I really have nothing to complain about. So I thought that, something was wrong with me type thing, right? And I started, sort of veering off course and spending a little extra money, eating not so well, stuff like that. And I knew something was going on, and I had to explore that further to actually take that leap into entrepreneurship. And so basically it took a while, but I got through it. And about a year ago, I started my own business.
Wow.
Incredible.
Good for you. You took a leap of faith and you followed.
Took a leap of faith. It felt like a big risk. And of course, a lot of people, especially like, with parents and, maybe my husband or people older, entrepreneurialism is not something that people are really comfortable with. So they feel like it's always such a big risk to take. So you get a lot of, people trying to sway your decisions and saying, you've got a good pension, you've got a good salary, you've got this, you've got that. And so basically I had to say, you know what? I may have all that, but it's not what I want. Like, it's just not for me. And that's how I got into the field of helping others with entrepreneurialism.
Got you. That's really beautiful. You wake up in the morning now and you have this purpose that you feel like you're putting your all into it. So that what a feeling.
Absolutely. And actually becoming an accountant was my second profession. My first profession was in social work. And then it didn't take long for me to realize that if I wanted to have a lot of energy for my family and, raise my kids, being an attentive parent, I couldn't do the social work and get burned out during the day and then do that at home. So I got into accounting, but then, another factor of getting into entrepreneurship is that I wanted to help people, but I also took my skill of money and money management and I combined them. And this is why it's such a great thing for me to be doing right now, because it works so well. Like, I'm also here to talk to my clients about, like, there's a lot of emotion in money, and what I'm teaching is for people to look at their numbers and understand what's going on in their business and stuff. And that can become very emotional for people. So we kind of, walk through it, take the emotion out of it. There's no judgment. There's not, like, it's a safe place. And basically, it's like you're learning how to know your business better.
Exactly. Yeah. Accounting seems to be a consistent background that many money managers or, many financial coaches have, because now they're right in the middle of it all and they can see the mistakes that their clients make. They can see the improvements certain clients make, because they're right there looking at all the numbers and making all the kind of the back end decision on tax basis. So it's great background to have to start. But yeah.
And I would say everybody needs a Melissa, because whether you're making this amount or whether you're making way up in the line, managing money is just something that it's not an easy task.
So having a coach to kind of guide you along the way who's been through the journey. But
and
it's really important to know whether your business is making a profit or not. And quite often I find with my clients, they don't know. And if you're not making a profit in your business, then, that's going to be the fastest way to bankrupt yourself. Your business won't be viable. So it's extremely important to keep an eye on those numbers to make sure that you are making money.
Yeah.
Great.
And I know money can go like that. You make it and it's gone.
Especially with online shopping.
Yes.
Even if you're not going anywhere, you can still spend a lot.
I'm guilty of that.
I'm guilty of that. $20 here, $20 there, and boom, done.
Yep.
It adds up.
Very
It adds up. Yeah.
So, Melissa, how can people get in touch with you when it comes to your coaching program or coaching classes you have?
We will definitely add all that information on YouTube and whenever we post this video. But yeah, let people know how to get in touch with you if they want to work with you, if they want to learn from you, and what the process is.
Absolutely. I mean, you can go to my website at 𝗖𝗣𝗜 and on my website, there's actually a letter that you can sign up for. It's a guide, and it's a 4-step guide to managing your business finances. And you can download that for free. And it's an excellent tool to help people get into the steps of, understanding what's going on in their finances, and they can take guidance through that. And then also on my website, you can email me. You can find my email address there and all my social media contacts as well.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
Make sure to share that.
Now, might I say, Forbes magazine. I mean, it does not get better than that. Please tell us, how did you come about for you to start writing for Forbes? And maybe you can share a memorable article you wrote that had a certain impactful message to give.
Absolutely. So I had taken a course learning how to get, publicity. So that really helps with your business for visibility and stuff. And so I never in a million years thought I would be writing for Forbes. But after taking this course, I thought, okay, why don't I just try? Because I know I've got a lot of valuable information to share with people, and a lot of entrepreneurs can benefit from this. So I pitched the managing editor of Forbes 2 times in the summer. I think that was in July of 2020. And I was ignored, completely ignored. And, I'm like, okay, fine. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to get scrappy here. So I pitched the editor of the Women Forbes section. She got back to me in hours. And all I was doing was asking to submit an article. And she ended up offering me my own column. So that was very, very exciting.
Wow. That's very exciting.
It's very exciting. And I'm having a lot of fun meeting a lot of different entrepreneurs and talking to them about, the challenges that they faced being an entrepreneur, the wins, all the great stories. My network is growing. And the funny thing is, I find the best articles that I've written, or like the ones that people tend to really consume, are the ones about getting rich.
Oh,
yeah.
Everybody wants to know that. Eh? How do I get rich? So I think the most popular article was the 7 best secrets to becoming rich.
Yes, we see. Remember how many views
Yes,
that had?
that had a
Yes, that
Yeah.
was
a lot of
hilarious.
shares. No, definitely.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit on a high level what that what was about and how did it come about, that particular
Well, I'm always writing about, either personal finance or business finance. And I decided, okay, I'm going to write something a little bit personal finance because people are always, looking for financial tips. And I was like, okay, just going to write about the popular tips that I know and that I've done myself. And so a lot of it is basically, the key to becoming wealthy, building your wealth, it's really not about the money that you're bringing in. It's about how you're managing that money. So you could be bringing in $1 million a year, but if you're blowing that money and you're not investing it in assets and trying to get your money to work for you rather than just spending on luxury items that, they have no appreciable value, that is your quickest way to lose out on, great wealth building opportunities.
Oh, very well said. And
Very
being
well said.
rich is not how much money you make, is that surplus that's left from your expenses to what you earn. So that tells you how rich you are or what you're worth. So great point that
Yeah.
you mentioned
Yeah.
there. No,
And
absolutely.
it's really important, to take your money and get it working for you so that, I think the big secret for rich people is that you invest in assets that are going to generate revenue for you and you live off that revenue, that interest income, that dividend income, whatever it may be, whatever form it's coming in. But if you don't touch your asset pile, such as investments, real estate investments, stuff like that, and you're just living off the dividends, that's a perfect recipe for maintaining wealth throughout your life.
Yeah,
Beautifully
no,
said.
absolutely. And I love hearing about your journey because when you think about accountants and there's certain people in certain professions that are very risk averse, or accountants, lawyers, they're very conservative when it comes to any kind of business decisions or any kind of spending. But for you to have gone through that journey and taken that leap, like Ava mentioned, to want to be an entrepreneur, and not only that, to help others, and also you talked about, your contact with Forbes and how you took that step. So taking that initiative and taking that first step, that if you could just kind of touch on that, and maybe at times you kind of possibly advise to people you mentor and coach as well, as taking the first step, how important it is for people to take that first step, or to start the traction.
Absolutely. You bring up a really valid point because it's not easy, especially in the beginning when you don't have a lot of wins and you feel very discouraged, right? So I had this burning desire. By the time I figured out, okay, I need to do this, this is what I truly need to do. Like I was basically unstoppable at that point. So I hustled for a year and I had times where, believe me, I wanted to give up. But it was like these wins, like, getting my column in Forbes, or becoming a contributor at Entrepreneur, or getting published at Business Insider, or, grabbing those clients and creating courses and helping people, and just hearing people tell me, hey, this is the best. Like there's nobody out there teaching this to us. I love that you're doing this. So those are the great wins that kept me going. But a lot of the wins came later. And, right from, I think the first 6 months of hanging in there and not giving up was like the key to getting a lot more traction. So yeah, I get it. It's difficult. There were a lot of tears. There were a lot of, saying to my husband, I don't know if I made out for this, like, but perseverance is key, resistance. And, just because, and it goes back to my story about Forbes, just because somebody said no to you, it doesn't mean that it's something that you need to take personally. It's like, I know, really, I've learned to interpret that as a thank you, not right now. This is not a good time. Because if you keep knocking on the doors, somebody will say yes. And that is like a key to persistence.
Absolutely. Very
Melissa
well
is
said.
resilient, and that's usually what makes your dreams come true.
No, definitely. Resilience,
Yeah.
consistency
Yeah.
are super important in business, but also on just going back to the to the coach, to the kind of a business coach. There's a lot of people that are like life coaches out there that you hear, and that sometimes they get criticized for being just a cheerleader of a person. But but there needs to be some motivation. There needs to be some that kind of impetus push for people to achieve things. And now when you add the financial fundamentals with that motivation, that's the recipe for a perfect coach, in my opinion. So I kind of wanted to
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely teaching people valuable skills, and the return on that investment is incredible because, we're not talking, just saving a couple of dollars every year. We're talking thousands of dollars that can be saved year over year over year. So not only do you get the push and the motivation and the cheerleader aspect of it, but you're also seeing your money grow and getting that control over your money. And those stressful nights where you're having a hard time sleeping because you don't know if you're going to be able to pay the bills, those are gone because you have a plan in action. You've got confidence, what's happening in your business, and there are no surprises. So it's a win-win-win.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Sorry, Ava, I keep jumping in
No, please,
and
please
taking away your
ask away.
questions. But I want to discuss. You mentioned hustle, the energy that exists. Okay, someone's got that energy, but how to manage and organize everything. So, like you were just speaking about yourself, where you're juggling many different plates at the same time. How do you do such a thing? Do you use certain softwares? Do you have do you have certain programs in place to allow you to be the masters of multiple crafts that you do at the same time? And if you can speak of that, we would definitely
I
appreciate.
have a very clear plan and I have a very clear direction I want to go in. You're absolutely right when you say, like, I have a lot of things on the go. I write for different columns. I've actually written a book that's being reviewed right now. I work with clients, I coach clients, I do speaking. So yes, there's definitely some organization that takes place. And I'm very old school. I use pen and paper. I've got notes everywhere.
Writer of you. But yeah.
My Instagram manager has me working on this Trello board. I don't know if you're familiar with Trello.
No.
And it's like this it's a computer app and it's got you different places. It's supposed to keep you organized. And I'm like, forget it. Pull out the pen and paper. I don't have time for this.
It works for you.
Yeah, if it works and you do a great job. So no.
And I've got a lot of reminders in my calendar.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. Now, Melissa, think like a CFO. Maybe you can go ahead and tell us about your podcast because we would love to hear more about that.
Yes, I love doing the podcast and I love talking. I mean, it's the same as Forbes with the interviews, except, we're just doing it audio. And I'm meeting some incredible people. I've got some really great guests coming up on the podcast that are entrepreneurs that have really, they've hustled and they've got really great success stories. So not only do I do like the guest interviews, but I also do the solo episodes where I really like to talk to my audience and, give them tips on how they can manage their business finances, how they can prepare for tax season, how they can, make sure that they're paying themselves a salary. So we talk about absolutely everything on that podcast. And it's really been a lot of fun because, it's just a great way to connect with people and, get the word out there and help people.
And teach people certain ways of doing things that would really help them. And that's fantastic.
Our experience with the YouTube show that we have, we've learned that not only it kind of adds value to others' investment journey, it also kind of teaches us a lot and gets us to meet great people just like yourself.
Exactly.
So these platforms are great for that. You don't have to have millions and millions of views and followers. It's just to create this platform, to create the dialogue and, to spread the word about what someone is doing. It's great. And has allowed us to learn a lot about ourselves and about many different topics. So
absolutely,
these are
exactly what you guys are doing is fantastic, and you're helping so many people.
We really appreciate that. Now I want to touch on some. Sorry, Ava.
Please go ahead. Go. This is your first time chatting with Melissa, so it's
Melissa, you're a Canadian. You're located here in Canada, but you do write for Forbes, which happens to be a U.S.-based organization, a conglomerate company. So, kind of talk to us about being a Canadian working in a kind of a U.S.-based company and how that comes about, and your experience being a writer for a magazine that happens to be in a different country and in the U.S.
Well, the good thing about that is when I studied accounting, well, and I still do, like we go by GAAP rules. So that's generally accepted accounting principles. And I'm so grateful that there are very few differences between Canadian GAAP and US GAAP. So it hasn't been a huge adjustment for me to write for a US based company and a predominantly American audience because I'm well versed in it already. So it's been fantastic in that way. There's a little bit of learning curve in the sense of when I'm writing an article, I have to reference US publications to support my facts and findings and stuff like that. They tend to, prefer the US rather than the Canadian coverage. But other than that, it's been like a relatively seamless transition.
Great, awesome. Really appreciate that.
And Julie, if you have any questions for Melissa,
Yep.
just let us know, and you can just write it in the chat here.
For sure, yeah. Great. And all right, let us know about, so what are you doing currently? What is taking most of your time right now as you're involved with your writing, with your coaching, with I believe your business and also your podcast? What is taking most of your time currently you're noticing?
I would say for the most part in the last month, March has actually been really crazy because it's Women's International Day was March 8th, I believe. So my mailbox filled up with requests, but Forbes tends to take it for the month. So I've added, usually I post Tuesdays and Thursdays in my column, and I've added Wednesdays this month, and I'm meeting and interviewing so many wonderful women entrepreneurs. So that has kept me extremely busy. Plus also having my book, I submitted a book proposal. So I'm hoping that it gets published and, just making revisions. And like, there's just been a lot of writing, and it's only March 17th. So the last 2 weeks have felt like I was writing a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And I was going to say about your book, you'll have to share that with us once it's up and running.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. So I'm hoping that it'll get picked up. So you'll be the first to find out.
That's really great.
Great.
I love it.
Great.
I was sharing with Melissa how my parents are accountants and
Yeah.
how having your parents try to guide you on finances and stuff, you're just like, I don't want to hear it. But
and my kids are the same. They don't want to hear it from me.
They should hear from you. I implore you guys, Melissa's kids, to listen to her, because that is someone you want to listen to.
That's someone you want to listen to.
Do not dismiss that's one parent you want to listen to. Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, great.
Melissa, it was such a pleasure.
If you'd like to maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is a good one. Of course, ask our question that we ask every guest that comes on.
If you may.
Now, what would be your number one best advice to a passive investor or someone looking to start passively investing in real estate?
Yes.
Or in any investment. It doesn't have to be real estate. It could be someone's looking to passively invest in, to be a passive investor, not to go out there and start a business or be an entrepreneur, but is looking to invest with a certain investment.
To get their money working for them, like you were mentioning earlier.
Yes. That is a very convoluted question. There's so many, my brain is going in so many different directions with this question. What I would really advise people is to understand the risk tolerance levels. So once they determine that, get the best possible secure investment. Like don't invest in things that haven't already been proven to be successful. And like, for example, when I speak about that, I'm really thinking about Bitcoin. I'm not really sure about that, and I'm not sure of the direction that's going in. But when you're looking at stock investing or real estate has always been a fantastic investment. Stocks, blue chip stocks, you can never go wrong with, or very rarely you can go wrong with them. They're pretty solid. They've shown a performance. Basically, watch your risk levels, diversify, and ensure that you are getting the best possible return on your investment.
Great advice.
Well
Great
said.
advice.
Great advice.
Perfect. Amazing. Hey, we really appreciate you taking the time, coming on and speaking on our show.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for having me.
We'd love to have you on again as soon as your book is going through its publication, and yeah, again, we're definitely certain that you added value to many of our viewers' journey and their investment journey.
And keep going out there and helping people with it. And one more message to Melissa's children: please listen to your mother. Say that one more
So
time.
listen to somebody else saying the same advice, but not me.
Well, thank you so much for all your wisdom.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.